Well, hello once again, folks, and welcome back to Andy Boy Comics and Toys. I didn't think it was going to be quite so soon after the last one, but I get to talk about a Star Wars movie again. This is Solo, a Star Wars story. I was originally planning on just reviewing the Star Wars episodes in terms of like the numbered ones, right? Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I thought, well, Solo and Rogue One do exist. They are Star Wars movies. So it wouldn't be fair to just overlook them. I didn't really want to interrupt the run of the 9 episodes in a row. But, at this point, it's going to take me till 2029 to finish all the Star Wars movies if I go at the pace I'm going right now. So, yeah, I'm going to keep the ball rolling. Solo, I guess you would call it, like, episode 3.4, 3.5? I don't know if we get an exact year on this. I'm not looking it up on Wikipedia or anything like that. But it is like the origin story of Han Solo.
Han Solo.
And Han Solo...
Han Solo.
Come on. He's everybody's favorite character in Star Wars in the original trilogy. I mean, when I was growing up and Star Wars movies were fresh in the theaters, and we were playing pretend, little kids playing pretend, nobody wanted to be Luke Skywalker. Everybody wanted to be Han Solo because he was the cool guy, and he's the one that gets the girl in the end. And he flies the ship, and he's super cool, and he's a bit of a shady character, but he's also a hero, and he does the right thing when he needs to. And this movie, I think, does a really good job of fleshing out that kind of backstory. There's a few places where I think it was, kind of missed the mark, like it didn't really jive with what I thought Han Solo's backstory should be. But hey, that's just me writing my own fan fiction, and if this is canon, then so be it. Who cares? I could choose to ignore it if I wanted to, if it really bothered me that much. I mean, you could be the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but it doesn't mean you have to like everything Star Wars. Like, there's got to be some Star Wars stuff out there that, like, who actually likes this? And do they like it just because it's Star Wars? Or because it's something else dressed up as Star Wars with the Star Wars veneer over top of it? I don't know. And that's another video entirely.
Han Solo.
Anyway, Solo, a Star Wars story, came out in like 2018. There was a bunch of delay over this, apparently. First of all, this movie is credited as being directed by Ron Howard, which is all well and good. I like Ron Howard. I think he's a good writer, good producer, director, knows how to make movies. But he was brought in kind of, not the last minute, but like halfway through to take over for the other guys that had directed or were directing this movie, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Because apparently the studio or Kathleen Kennedy or whoever, well, I guess they thought they made it too silly. And I think it could have benefited from being like more of a comedy movie, a little sillier than it actually turned out to be. But they didn't like that. I guess they kept some of the stuff, but then they brought Ron Howard in to kind of like fix it and to make it more studio, well, I guess audience friendly, or what the studio decided was audience friendly. Because there's some stuff that feels kind of stuck in here, and then there's other stuff that feels kind of toned down. Let's say that. They did have a few humorous moments, but they missed a bunch of opportunities, especially with Han and Chewbacca. They get a little bit of banter here and there, but it's more like they're falling in love with each other in this movie than anything else. Basically, it's the backstory, right? So it tells you, how did Han Solo get the Millennium Falcon? Well, we know from a line in The Empire Strikes Back that he won the Millennium Falcon in a card game from Lando.
Remember, you lost her to me fair and square.
And Yeah, that happens. Doesn't happen until the very end of the movie. Spoilers. Oh yeah, spoilers throughout. Also, how did he meet Chewbacca? And how did he become like a smuggler and all that kind of stuff? And that happens in this movie as well, and that's all set up. I don't know, before I go into any details, I'd like to just say that I wasn't disappointed with this movie. I wasn't blown away, but I was certainly not disappointed.
Chewie, take the professor in the back and plug him into the hyperdrive.
First of all, as Han Solo in this movie, you get Alden Ehrenreich. I think he does a really good job of playing this character. Of course he's not going to be like Harrison Ford. Like, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He's the Han Solo that we already know.
Han Solo.
This guy hasn't molded himself into that character just yet, so of course he's going to be a little different. Never mind the fact that he looks different. If you can't get over that, like, I would have thought you'd get over that kind of thing by The Phantom Menace with Obi-Wan. But here, I mean, what are we going to do? Are we going to do the digital face replacement thing like they did in Rogue One? No, there was no need for that. I think this guy did a really good job. I was convinced he was Han Solo. Why not? He's got that kind of smart-ass attitude. Of course, he showed a little bit more vulnerability and that sort of thing. He was maybe a little bit more of a wuss than the Han Solo we know. But, stuff in his life happens and hardens his heart kind of thing, and he grows into the person that we know in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I wouldn't be totally against Disney, because it's all Disney now, right? I wouldn't be totally against them casting this guy again as Han Solo in another project. Solo 2, or whatever. Anyway, my point here is that he was good. He is far from the worst thing about this movie. There are a few worse things about the movie, but it's still good. His female co-star, Emilia Clarke, she grew up on the same planet as Han Solo. They kind of had a little romance back in the day when they grew up like on the streets, working criminal racket or whatever, like small time, like street kids.
Look, I came up running scams on the streets of Corellia.
And they escape that life, and then they go off into, well, Han Solo goes off into space and starts becoming Han Solo.
Han Solo.
So Kira, played by Emilia Clarke, doesn't manage to escape the planet like Han does, and so we kind of leave her behind on Corellia. Then Han Solo goes off and he goes to the military and all that. Emilia Clarke returns. It's only like 20 minutes later in the movie, and it's supposed to be like 3 or 4 years have passed or something, and she just happens to be in the place where Han Solo is getting involved in this kind of shady criminal dealings and like a smuggling operation, that sort of thing. And she just happens to show up there, and apparently somebody rescued her from the planet and brought her there, even though Han was trying to do that the whole time because he was like so in love with her. And
I was doing this job, get a little money, and then I was going to come back to Corellia and find you.
She turns out to be like a criminal, and well, I mean, everybody's a criminal in this movie, which makes it very different from the other ones. This one doesn't feature like the Jedi side of the galaxy. I think you only see one lightsaber in the entire movie. Of course, you see a few stormtroopers here and there. Most of the planets are kind of occupied or run by the Empire. That's really it. There's no Darth Vader. There's no Yoda. I mean, you got Han Solo and Chewbacca, a smuggler and his co-pilot. And I like that it's a smaller scale, showing a different side of the Star Wars galaxy, of the universe. Now, getting back to Emilia Clarke, though, didn't really like her in this movie, I gotta say. I thought she was pretty boring and lifeless, and it was obvious from the moment that when Han reunites with her that things are different now. She's not gonna be your love interest anymore. And I guess the movie's kind of, that's one of the overarching themes, is he gets his heart broken in this movie, and you saw it coming from that moment. And her performance didn't really, I don't know. I guess I just don't like Emilia Clarke. I'm sorry. But Han Solo, of course, also befriends Chewbacca, right? In this movie. Yeah, he gets thrown in like an Imperial jail cell with Chewbacca, and they fight at first, and then they start to cooperate so they can escape together. And while they're escaping, they meet, another criminal band led by Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett, and he is a little disappointing in this movie as well. Don't get me wrong, Woody Harrelson's fine as an actor. I don't think he's got a lot of range. He seems to always just be playing Woody Harrelson, you know? Sometimes he's badass, sometimes he's a good guy, and you never know. Which is why he's kind of like perfect for this role, but he was perfectly boring in this role, and I didn't get a sense of his character at all. So Tobias Beckett and his crew take Han and Chewie off of the planet where they're stuck on, and they go off on their criminal enterprises. Their first job together as a crew kind of gets screwed up, and so they have to go deal with the boss, Dryden Voss, who is played by Paul Bettany, the Vision, or Jarvis, or whichever, or the priest, if you will. Anyway, he's pretty good. He's pretty intimidating and kind of nasty as a bad guy. He's got a big scar on his face and looks kind of cool. I think it's a little dumb that he fights with not quite lightsabers, but a couple of like little energy daggers or whatever. I think that's kind of cheesy. Anyway, they get sent on one more mission. So what they gotta do, and we all saw this coming if you're a Star Wars fan, we get to see the Kessel Run.
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Basically, they go to the spice mines of Kessel.
We'll be sent to the spice mines of Kessel or smashed into who knows what.
And no, they don't get smashed into who knows what. They have to liberate some... What the hell is it called in this movie?
Coaxium.
Well, the only known source of astatic coaxium is a fissure vent beneath the spice mines on Kessel.
Yeah.
It's not unobtainium. That's Avatar.
Coaxium.
But anyway, it's like starship fuel sort of stuff.
Coaxium.
I don't know, crystals or gas or
Coaxium.
plasma or something. Anyway, they gotta go there and steal some more to keep the boss happy so they don't get killed. But they need a ship. So who has a ship? Lando Calrissian. And Lando Calrissian, played by Donald Glover, is actually really good in here. I think he's pretty funny. Very obsessed with his silk shirts and his capes and stuff. And he's kind of arrogant and, well, not kinda.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
He's like smooth talker and more than a little shady. He's a dirtbag, but he's well dressed. And yeah, he has the Millennium Falcon. So they have to go to Kessel with the Millennium Falcon. And Lando brings along his, sidekick, co-pilot, a droid named L337. And I hated this character. Oh my god. Played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who coincidentally also co-stars in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. L3 is pretty freaking annoying in this. When we first meet her, she's watching this like droid pit fight going on, like Robot Wars, but with actual like Star Wars droids in there. I think we see somebody beating up a gonk droid in there. And she's like cheering at the side of the ring. She's like, "You're being oppressed, and they're making you fight for their profit, and robot revolution and all this crap." But she's so in your face and so obnoxious with it. I don't know if that was written in there as a joke or to make us think about droid equality. I don't know. Or just, to have us think about diversity and stuff altogether. She's just an obnoxious character. She's bossy, arrogant, know-it-all. Just did not like her. Sorry. She came this close to ruining that whole movie for me, and I actually cheered when she died. Anyway, so now we got Han, we got Chewie, we got Kira, we got Tobias Beckett, and we got Lando, and we've got L3. Hooray! And we're all going to the spice mines of Kessel. We're going to get our unobtainium.
Coaxium.
We're going to throw it on the Falcon, and we're going to get back here ASAP because the stuff's unstable and it might blow us all up if we don't make it in time. So they have to do the Kessel Run. Well, first of all, they liberate a bunch of prisoners or whatever on the planet, and then they have to escape, and the droid gets killed. Oh. So they're doing the Kessel Run meaning they're coming from Kessel back to the core worlds, I guess. Yeah, and they do it in less than 12 parsecs, and they correct that kind of, not mistake, but misunderstanding in the original script of A New Hope.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
That a parsec is not a measure of time, it's actually a measure of distance. Well, that means that you kind of took a shortcut then. Is that what you're saying? I mean, of course, as a kid, I didn't know what the fuck a parsec was. And it wasn't until somebody on the internet explained that it's actually a measurement of distance and not a measurement of time. I mean, they don't focus on that too much. They try and make an exciting movie with a chase, sort of, well, not so much a chase, but a race against time. Going through the wormhole or whatever the hell, and there's like a big giant space squid and a black hole sucking them in, and it's, it all went by, and I don't care about the scientific explanations. It was exciting. You got some good dialogue in there. Han and Chewie take the reins and fly the ship, and they get back to the bad guy. They have to make some other deal with another faction.
Just did the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
To rip him off and keep the fuel.
Coaxium.
For, I guess, what becomes the rebellion or something. Han Solo doesn't really know, and...
we can't give the coaxium to Dryden Voss.
Joining the cause, Han Solo?
Han Solo.
But in any case, they gotta fight the bad guy, and Kira works for him, so she's gotta free herself from his domination or whatever. They kill the guy. Then it turns out that Han Solo actually ends up killing Tobias Beckett as well. Oh, did I mention spoilers?
Spoiler alert!
It doesn't have the emotional impact that I think they were going for here, but I think the actors played it well. It was fine. And then Kira kind of betrays Han Solo as well. He gets away with his life, and I guess a whole bunch of credits for, pulling off his job. But she takes off, and her new floating palace or whatever that she got for killing her boss. And then here's the big twist, which has nothing to do with Han Solo at all. Kira turns on this hologram thing, and she's like, okay, I'm the new boss here. I'm in charge of this wing of the organization. But she has to answer to the boss, who turns out to be Darth Maul. Why? Why in the fuck do you need to put Darth Maul in there? It's like, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, well, that's certainly unexpected. But who was asking for the return of Darth Maul? Well, I mean, I guess the people that watched the Clone Wars cartoon, which I've never watched and don't really care for, and apparently now he's got robot legs and he's like a crime lord, so I guess it all fits. Whatever. And by the way, I just recently read, last week, read a headline that there's going to be a new Darth Maul focused Disney Plus show. Darth Maul Shadow Lord or something. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens when that comes out, but I was pretty disappointed with the Boba Fett one, so I don't see this being any better.
Get on with it!
But yes, of course, the very last part of the movie is Han and Chewie go to see Lando again, who took off in the Falcon and left them back on the planet fighting the bad guy. They go to see him, and of course they play a game of Sabacc, the legendary space card game that I guess it's like poker or whatever, which Han Solo apparently is pretty good at. He's an honest player and all this stuff, and meanwhile Lando's cheating the whole time. But they manage to outsmart Lando, and they win the card game, and they get the Millennium Falcon, and that's the end of the movie. Yay! When it comes to being a Star Wars movie, this is the least Star Wars of all the Star Wars movies, even though it has one of the lead characters in there. Or, well, rather, lead character from the original trilogy, that is. But you know what? I thought it was a good Han Solo movie.
Han Solo.
Not every Star Wars movie has to have lightsabers and TIE fighters and Star Destroyers and the Emperor and Darth Vader, the fate of the galaxy. Not all that shit has to be in there. It came off as a fun movie. There's a good amount of humor, but it's not too goofy. There's a good amount of action. Not all of it is fantastic, but it's a good adventure story. Good characters playing off of each other, good actors. Didn't seem like a disjointed mess like some people have said. I hear that it disappointed at the box office. I'm pretty sure I went to see it in the theater. I wasn't disappointed. I don't care how much money it made. I don't care what people think of me if I like this movie or not. But I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. But it was good. It was worthy of a Star Wars movie, even though it was so different from all the other ones. I think it made up for it in like personal stories and things. And that's not usually what I'm looking for in a Star Wars movie. But, I mean, the dialogue in this movie kicks a shit out of anything that George Lucas directed in the prequel trilogy.
This is such a drag.
You underestimate my power!
When it comes to fan service, that was a common complaint about Rogue One. And yeah, there was a little too much fan service in that one, but it was fine. I accepted it because I actually like Rogue One as a movie as well, and like I said, I'm going to get around to reviewing that real soon. This one didn't have as much of that. Like, they did a bit of name dropping. For the most part, it was like obscure stuff, though. Like, for example, they mentioned the name Bosk. If you don't know who Bosk is, don't even call yourself a Star Wars fan. Come on, he's the reptile space bounty hunter guy in The Empire Strikes Back. No, they never said his name in the movie, which makes it obscure. They only said it on the action figure packages. So I think it's actually somebody at the Kenner Corporation might have made up the name Bosk. I don't know. And then other ones like they mentioned Aura Singh. Now you probably got to be a prequel trilogy fan if you know who Aura Singh is. She was seen in The Phantom Menace briefly, overlooking watching the pod racing. But yeah, she wasn't named until after that movie came out, and like they made like action figures of her. And then there's one really obscure. This one's like to test the audience. There's a scene where they're fighting in the spice mines of Kessel, and Kira takes out some bad guys with, I guess, some kind of martial arts or something. And another character asks her, where'd you learn to do that? And she says, oh, I learned a little of Terras Kasai. Terras Kasai? Who in the fuck heard of that? In Star Wars? It actually refers to the old PlayStation Star Wars tournament fighting game, Masters of Terras Kasai. Quite enjoyed that game, to be honest with you. I know the angry video game nerd didn't. But yeah, I just thought that was a weird one. Just little sprinklings. Well, I think I've blabbed on enough about Solo. And I think it's time to give it a letter grade. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a B-. Which, if you remember correctly, is the same thing that I gave The Phantom Menace. A lot of people hated The Phantom Menace. I kind of enjoyed it. B-. Solo, there's a lot of people who don't like this movie too. I enjoyed it. B-. Still better than Attack of the Clones. And still better than a couple of other Star Wars movies that I haven't even reviewed yet. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off here. It won't be too long before I get to another Star Wars movie, but, you know, this being episode 3.45 or something, and Rogue One being like 3.99, you can expect to see that one real soon. So until the next Star Wars movie, may the Force be with you, and have a good one, everybody.